Well, welcome back to Senior Travel Adventures. With me today is Jon Corippo, and we have known each other, I think I was trying to calculate, about 19 years. Yeah. And what we met because we were working in educational technology in different spaces and have just known each other now ever since.
2 decades. Who'd have thunk it?
I know, who'd have thunk it. But here's what's so cool. Jon, he's been in a lot of different roles, but now his new gig is EduProtocols, which is a training program for teachers. That's very cool. I love it. But I'm not in that space anymore. And so, but he likes food. And he travels all over the world with EduProtocols, and he takes pictures of food. And so he would put these pictures on Facebook, and I would say, oh my gosh, that looks good. So I thought, you know what? We're going to do a Senior Travel Adventures Foods from Around the World episode with Jon. So
let's go.
All right. So we've got quite a few pictures, but we'll talk as long as we need to. So, kind of funny thing is you have EduMeat.
Yeah,
so EduMeat is a play off of protocol.
Education, EduMeat. And that's kind of how I got started in what I'm doing now, traveling all over, is in the early days of Twitter, now known as X. My friends and I, like you, we'd be posting education stuff all week. Look at this, look at this. And then Friday night about 5, pizza would start showing up. And then, and then on Saturday, somebody might share some barbecue, and it would just turn into a little social thing between us, informally sharing food for nobody but ourselves.
Right.
It was just like, here's a picture of what I'm eating, and then 20 minutes later, here's a picture of what I'm eating. And it just keeps going.
Well, and even during the pandemic, they were doing these Zooms, and what was it called, midnight pizza or something
midnight
like that?
Pedagogy, and everybody would order pizza at like 11:30 and talk teaching shop until they ran out of food.
It's just amazing, and I know this airs in a couple of different environments and on YouTube, but Jon lives up in the hills outside of Fresno.
The fabulous Coarse Gold, California.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what this first picture, but here's the very first picture you said.
Yeah.
Tell us what that is.
I went deep into my iPhoto, and this was like the first food picture. This is pre-internet right here, okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I took that with a film camera. And that's like, and it's funny because it's not very appetizing, but we were on a field trip, and that's what the next picture is. We were on a field trip on a train because we figured out you can take field trips on the train for $9 each way.
Oh my gosh!
Which, if you've ever been a teacher, those buses get expensive. So,
right.
So we're going along, and I go, "Hey, you guys, I'm gonna take a picture of our food." And they were like, "What are you doing? It's not even good looking." So that's an Amtrak hamburger, and that's kind of early days into my food journey.
Yeah, I would have to say you've come a long way.
But notice how I've got an open face for the presentation.
You do.
You can
see the plastic.
Yeah, and you got my utensils, so it's a really nice setup.
My gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, let's just hope that it tasted better than it looks.
And then that's the moment, right?
Yes.
So that's myself and my friend Jessica and my other friend Tracy, and Tracy's laughing because she can't believe I took a picture of the food.
And because we have to talk about food.
Yeah. And then at school,
this one is very funny.
Food and school is big for me. So I started in Clovis Unified, and one of our school secretaries, actually, her family ran the local Coca-Cola distributorship.
Oh.
And I was working her so hard, I wanted a one-head fountain machine for my classroom. Because you know what? I could get kids to do anything for that. Right. So food and school has always been a big deal for me. And that was just a fun moment with my semi-adopted daughter, River. At Minarets High School, we used to, the day before Christmas break, all the teachers would come in early, and we would cook pancakes for all the kids.
Oh my gosh, that's a big stack of pancakes.
And that's a theme that people will hear through this is it's about food and people.
Right.
And so River's there just super stoked because she had these big fatty pancakes. And so that was I'm just setting up the scene here for where we're going.
I just hope, though, that she wasn't going to put ketchup on those pancakes.
No, I think that we have, it was one of those thrown together things. There's syrup in the container.
Okay,
so you're safe.
Okay.
It's a safe.
It's syrup. All right. We will make sure we will make sure people know. So, okay. And then, so you're a big time griller, barbecue guy.
I don't know big time. I'm a fan. Let's put it that way. And so, so I started sharing every time I would make a tri-tip or make some ribs. I would go over to Instagram and I'd snap a little picture. And so then at one point, and you're right, it was right in that Zoom COVID period, and I realized, well, as an educator, I'm going to have to be teaching online, and I've never really taught online.
Oh.
So what I said is, let's do a barbecue class. So I had my friend Brian Briggs make up a cute little sticker for us, and so we actually did an online class to learn about barbecue. But what I was doing is teaching myself how to teach online.
Okay,
So
so
it was
you
a
were
double move.
practicing.
It was a double move. Because I thought, man, I don't want to go in like I know how to teach online without having done it.
Right.
And I will tell you, fun fact, we had about 40 people sign up. About 15 or 20 went through the whole thing.
Okay.
And 3 of them are my new best friends. I made some legit friends, which again, it's food and people.
It's not food and people, and that is so much why I wanted you, because one, you're very good at talking about all of this, and the other thing is we're talking about food has brought him. Well, you'll see as we go through all around the world and made new friends too. Well, I think this might be at your house.
Yeah, so this is just to give people a little context of what my feed might look like. So my neighbor down the way, who used to be a windmill technician and drag racer, and he's retired. He lives about like a half a mile down the street from me, Gary. Hey, Gary. I was like, Gary, I got this idea. So he made me this swing out grill. So now we live in Coarsegold. So we have fire pits in the winter. It's very normal. We got tons of trees down with the drought and everything. And I was like, wait, if I had a grill, I could be cooking meat while I was in. So my friend Gary made that little grill, and that's just what the backyard setting might look like on a Saturday in Coarsegold. So we're kind of we're still in the entry phase here. So one of my favorite education progressions is if you follow the story of nachos, it's very interesting because nachos started in 1944 in New Mexico.
Oh.
And Ignacio was the maitre d' at a restaurant, and some Air Force wives were out Christmas shopping, and they had been drinking some wine, and they said, Ignacio, we need something to go with this. And he said, I'm sorry, ladies, the kitchen is closed.
Oh.
And he's the maitre d', so he fired up the kitchen, and he made some fresh tortilla chips, which, bad news, you guys. When you're at the Mexican restaurant, 4 chips is 1 tortilla.
Right. And you eat about 30 of them, 30 tortillas. I do.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'll eat them until they stop. Anyways,
till you
from
can't.
an education point of view, the analogy I use with teachers is Ignacio, Nacho, get it? He started with just the simple elegance of a tortilla chip, a little bit of cheese, and each one had its own little jalapeno. And then that went like that for 40 or 50 years. And then somebody said, loaded nachos.
Right.
And it was like, oh my gosh, which is basically, if you haven't had that, it's basically a burrito dumped out on chips.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I was down in LA and I saw, ready? Carne asada fries.
Yes.
Which is basically a carne asada burrito, but instead of chips, we have fries.
Right.
And then I've seen sushi fries, sushi nachos. They use the shrimp chips.
Yeah.
And then sushi elements. And so where I'm going with this is there's a place called The Hat in Southern California. I think they have about 9 locations.
Yep.
They're kind of the in and out of pastrami. They're one of my favorites. My friend Kim hates them, so shout out to Kim.
And The Hat is not that far from from Laguna Woods for my Laguna Woods people.
It's a hop and a skip. It's just past CSU Fullerton. Up on, is it the 130?
Well, I think there's a Hat not even like maybe in like in the Irvine area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So
But I know there's a place that has a pastrami sandwiches. I think they have the pastrami fries too.
So that's a big build up to this.
Yes.
At The Hat, they have a thing called pastrami fries.
Well,
which is, at The Hat, they have steak fries.
right.
And then they put chili with no beans.
Okay, good.
And then
No
they
beans.
put cheese.
Yeah.
And then they put cheese. And then they put all this pastrami and pickles on top of it. And it is a secret menu item. You have to ask for it. And here's why I love ordering this. Because when you get it, it takes 2 hands to carry it. Like, it's stupid heavy. And I walk through the restaurant with it proudly, and people do this.
They're like, "What's that?
Yeah,
what did he get?"
So that's why I threw that in. That's a fun story.
that is fun. And I'm a pastrami fan.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're probably
am.
my favorite, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 places that are better at just pastrami, but if you need a quick reliable pastrami stop, it's the hat.
Well, they've got the fries, at In-N-Out you can order
Yeah,
crazy
animal fries
animal
and
fries.
double cooked fries.
And chili fries. And I just had poutine when I was in Vancouver, and I had it at the Granville Market, which I'll be talking about in a future episode, but I wasn't impressed, and I love cheese, and I love gravy, and I love fries. So
And I'm going to go with you on that. I like tots. I like gravy. I like cheese, but I'm not really sold on poutine yet.
No, me neither.
It's not there for me. So,
I ate the top, I ate the cheese, and I
Yeah,
ate a little bit,
yeah.
and I was like, yeah, okay. I had fun, had enough. Well, this looks good. And now, I'm actually kind of hungry now that we're looking at all these pictures.
so this is a good double move. So another great place to eat, I'm sure you've been there, is Old Town
Oh, of course.
in San Diego.
Yes.
And my
in our backyard.
favorite thing is all the grandmas out front making the fresh tortillas
Yep.
and the mantequilla. And usually I'm stuffed before I even get to the restaurant. But we went to this one. Now, most of us have had fundido. If you haven't, it's just basically Mexican cheese dip.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Melted cheese.
queso, but thicker.
Right.
If you've had queso. But this place had fundido with shrimp
Wow.
and chorizo.
Wow.
And that combination of really mild with the cheese and really mild with the shrimp, but then the chorizo, it's powerful. So now here's this is my fun story on this. Every time I go to a restaurant now, I say these words. If they have fundido, I go, do you have that with shrimp and chorizo? And every time the waitress goes, wow, that sounds really good. So
Well-
sometimes I'll make them make it for me.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay,
well,
so this is some of my
EduMeat
actual
coming.
cooking. This is I made some, got some pork ribs here. And not going to say too much about that. I just wanted to share what I can make.
Yes.
But here's my twist for you guys. The secret ingredient, thanks to my co-author Marlena, the secret ingredient for ribs for me is a little ginger.
Oh, I love ginger.
And a little chipotle, just a little. And it gives it kind of if you like Kalbi ribs, the Hawaiian, it gives it that little bit of kick. And since I said that, that's the magic to Kalbi ribs. If you want to make Hawaiian tasting Kalbi ribs, it's not the amount of salt, it's not the kind of salt, it's not the amount or type of soy sauce, it is the ginger.
Oh,
So
well.
next time you do some ribs, give them a little dusting with some ginger and a little chipotle, and it really makes a nice, gives it a little warmth and a little zest.
Well, I will have to have John make my ribs because it's too much work for me, but I love eating them.
Okay, we are good with that.
Okay, so now you've gone to Mexico
Okay.
City.
So
We've
now-
taken a trip.
We zoom forward a couple years, and I've been putting these rando pictures on Instagram,
Yep.
right? And this is my friend Archundia. He lives in Mexico City, and he's a teacher as well.
Okay.
And one thing he does that I love is he makes every kid wear a clown nose for
Okay.
the first 3 days of school. Every kid in his class has to wear a clown nose. And I go, dude, why do you do that? And he goes, because I want everybody to know that we're all equally ridiculous.
That's wonderful.
How beautiful is that?
That's wonderful.
Because they can all just be, but with the clown nose, everybody now has this very obvious flaw, and we're smiling. So he takes me on taco tours in Mexico City.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And I'm just telling you, you think that we have hard tacos, soft tacos, now we got birria tacos. There are so many kinds of tacos, but that's my friend Archu. I took that picture and I'm very proud. He made that his avatar on Facebook. So
I love it. I love it. I like his little, I know there's a name for that mask and I can't think
Lucha
of-
Libre.
Okay.
And he loves wearing the mask.
Yes, that's so funny.
So
So there's some tacos.
These are some of the tacos. These are gringa,
Okay.
which is white girl tacos.
Okay.
And that is with a flour and cheese and beef. And then there's also the pirata, which is, I believe, corn with like barbacoa, roast beef, and
okay.
cheese.
Okay.
Because remember, tacos don't typically have cheese in a Mexican setting.
Right. They're just cilantro, onion, and
Right, you've got your
more like a street
chopped
taco.
onion, your cabbage, right? But typically
Yeah.
they don't have the queso in there. So those are two of my favorites: are the gringas and the perrata.
And there's a restaurant in Southern Cal called Puesto, and they make some tacos that would knock your socks off because they actually, I don't even know. I've tried to do this at home where you put the cheese down and they put the taco shell on the cheese And then it's also inside.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's folded.
I can
it's
show you
very
how to do
messy.
that. My daughter did that. It's the trick is you just make it like a quesadilla and then pull them apart.
It was.
I was trying to do it 40 ways. She goes, Dad, watch this.
No, that's easy. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day.
That's
I
right.
say that all the time. But cheese on the outside of the taco like that. And
And
there's
then this is just a beautiful standard taco.
Yep.
And that's just the I just love this one because of the plate.
Yep.
And the tablecloth, and it's just simple.
It's
right?
very Mexico City.
Yeah.
That's what you expect in a little tiny place off the side of the street with their little tables, with their tablecloths, just like you would expect.
Archie took us to one place in Mexico City where they brought out a basket about this big, and it had like 20 kinds of sauces. I've never seen anything like that. So they didn't bring you like, here we'll get your Cholula and your Tapatio, which I love.
Right.
But they brought a basket of like 20 kinds of sauces. It was
Oh my
really
gosh! And you wonder what all of them actually are at that point. Okay, so
now we're switching to France.
Now we took a plane and now we've gone to France.
So I went to the 75th anniversary of D-Day with my dad.
Okay.
And we were in Normandy. And fun fact, Normandy's not really known for food. We couldn't find even like good seafood, and you're at the ocean.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And we were at the Overlord Museum. And what's my hashtag, right? EduMeat. I turn around and I see this big sign that says pork and cider.
There you
and
go.
I was like, oh, right now I'm in heaven. So if you'll notice, that's the anniversary Omaha Beach cider. And they had these huge pigs. And they were just sawing roast beef right up. You can see the little bits at the bottom.
Oh, my goodness.
And that was just a real moment for me because as you know, England, not good. The food was, even the fish and chips were kind of okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm on like 3 or 4 days of really salty, basic food, and I see that, and it's like, oh, let's go.
Let's go.
Take all my money.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, I love visiting London, but not so fond of most of the food I've had.
When McDonald's is
but
looking
Borough
good,
Market.
we got problems.
But Borough Market, now you guys
Okay.
have probably, I think I might have shown some of that on my show already, but Borough Market, I
need to know more about that then.
That was very good.
Okay.
But yes, if you just go, fish and chips was very disappointing.
I agree.
But Borough Market, yummy. And then I also went to Covent Garden and I sat outside and I had some really good burrata.
Okay. So speaking of markets, though, you just made me think of this. If you guys go to Philadelphia, you've been to Philadelphia because of ISTE, right?
I have not.
Oh, dear God.
I did not go to ISTE in
Let me
Philadelphia.
Let me throw this in then real quick. So imagine
I'm sorry, Pennsylvania friends, that I haven't been to see you yet.
imagine a building roughly the size of Macy's at Fashion Fair,
Okay.
but only one story. It's the old train station.
Okay.
And it is full of nothing but food trucks.
See,
And it is, I'm going to say probably 100 vendors. Now, they're not food trucks, but they're food truck size. They're smaller than the studio. It's like you got a little bar.
Right.
you got the food,
They have those little.
and just crazy bakery stuff, ice cream stuff, gelato, coffee, this kind of meat, that kind of meat, barbecue, fried chicken. And it is so popular that like you cannot, it's like Black Friday back when Black Friday was a thing.
Right.
Like you have to like scuffle through. You'll wait
Borough
an hour or
Market
two
was
for
like
food.
that. If you don't go to Borough Market in the morning,
Okay.
yeah,
you're out. You're just out.
Well, there's
And
this
a lot of
one
places
place that
they
you would
sell
love.
out by like one. They're like, we're closed.
This place called the Black Pig. I couldn't even. The line was an hour long, just the line. So I ended up going to a different place, getting something very tasty. But where you sat outside was right where the Black Pig. So I watched all the people go with their beautiful sandwiches and was very mad at myself for just not waiting. But next time I go to London, I will be definitely going there.
Food FOMO really gets to me.
I know. Fear of missing out for sure.
Right.
Oh, and then who doesn't love a first class flight?
Yeah, this is I took a picture of my first class flight. I was blown away. They bring you the warm nuts and everything.
Warm nuts.
And so just saying, you guys, if you fly first class, okay, first thing, whatever airline you're on, have the app and pre-order.
Oh, yes.
Pre-order. I'm not going to hope to get,
Right.
if the short rib and polenta's there, I'm locking that puppy in.
Right.
So that's just my first class advice for you guys.
Yes.
Have
And-
the app Lock in your order ahead of time.
Absolutely. And I did that last time. And, the older I get, if I have an opportunity to upgrade to premium economy or sometimes fortunate, not too often to go first class, but definitely the warm nuts, it's the way to go.
And this is a sidebar. Now, here's how I do this. Now, folks, remember, I've done over 90 days on the road, 90 nights on the road, a year for the last 4 years. I got a lot.
Yeah.
And here's how you do this. You book Coach, and then you check in the app about 3 days later, and this little pop-up will say, would you like to upgrade?
Oh, yes.
Now, what you do is you always start in Coach, and then what I'll do is I'll just upgrade just the certain legs. For example,
there you go.
if I'm flying a commuter plane, I'm not going to pay $100
To sit
to have a slightly larger seat for an hour and a half. But what I will do is pay $120 on my red eye to be first just for that piece.
right.
So especially like if I'm going to Europe or India,
Yeah.
I'll pay for premium economy just on the overwater leg on the way home.
Right. The big long one is
Yeah.
where you want to be comfortable.
So
and
that's a misconception I used to have. I used to thought it was first or bust, and it is not.
it is not anymore.
Yeah,
It used
buy-
to a long time
Yeah,
ago. It
buy
was that way.
Coach and then check back for the upgrades.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
keeps you
I
moving.
was the last time I came back from Amsterdam. Yeah, Amsterdam. I got a little thing on my phone and said, "Would you like to upgrade?" Heck yeah, because I
Yeah.
was going to Amsterdam to San
'Cause-
Francisco.
and what was it like? Probably $250 or something like that.
It was a little more, but
my
it was
logic
still
is
worth
that's
it.
what a hotel would cost me.
Right.
And if I arrive home refreshed and ready to work, I'm investing in myself.
Okay, well that looks like fish and chips. Oh,
This
New
is
Orleans.
Fish and Chips in New Orleans. We went down there to see the National World War II Museum,
Okay.
which is quite the deal. And if you say, well, I'm not really into military gear, the World War II Museum is about stories.
Oh.
It's a story-based museum. Yes, there is, there are planes and tanks
Right,
and stuff,
right.
but it's really learning the stories of all of the veterans. And right across the street from it, and you guys check me if I mess this up, but there is a hotel across the street, which I think is a Hyatt. It is full-blown 1940s, but brand new.
Really?
So when you walk in, they've got 1940s music. The people are dressed up like 1940s, and it sets such a mood for going into the museum. We arrived in the evening, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm time capsuling here."
Right, you just
the
went back
rooms
in
are all
time.
decorated 1940s style, and then you walk right across the street to the National World War II Museum. And I just had to give New Orleans a shout out. Lots of good food options there, and the fish and chips was really solid.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I just got.
And then hush puppies.
Of course. Well,
Why
hush
can't we get
puppies.
these on the West Coast? It makes no sense.
They're
It makes
just
no sense.
fried bread.
That's all it is. It's no big
And
deal.
and they're
We have
delicious.
fryers. We have bread. Why don't we do this?
Why don't we do this
I
more
don't know.
often? I don't know either. But was fortunate enough to go to New Orleans for actually the first time this past spring. And oh my gosh, the food. I had some shrimp and grits. I still dream about those shrimp
And while you're
grits.
transitioning, folks, you don't have to go to Cafe Du Monde.
No,
The
but it
beignets
was
are good everywhere.
But
The
Cafe
beignets are good.
Beignet was good too.
Yeah,
went there.
we actually had the beignets at the hotel. They're great.
Yeah.
I saved myself an hour and a half.
But
on it.
I did I will shout out to Cafe Beignet because it was really good. And I did like Cafe Du Monde's coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? I got them both at the airport with no line.
That's right. Didn't have to wait for 2 hours.
Exactly. That line is hideous.
That is really bad. Oh, nothing better than some beef.
So if
some
you're
real beef.
if you're going to the coast, there's a little town east of Paso Robles called Creston,
Yes.
and you can actually pick it up on your way over from the valley. I grew up in Paso Robles, so I know all the back roads. At Shandon, you can take Highway 46 in the back way, and it's like going into a time capsule. It's
Right.
like you're driving into the cowboy days, and that ribeye at the loading chute will cost you about $27.
But I can kind of tell how big it is
Well, it's
because
not-
of the
yeah.
because of the
Well, look
veggies.
at it in relation to the
yeah.
veggies, yeah.
Nothing
And they've
better
got a
than a
real
giant piece of
barbecue
meat.
going there. And Creston's a little town where the parking lot's dirt,
Yep.
and you can stand in the middle of the main street for probably 20 minutes and never see a car.
Yeah.
It's just a cute little town.
And
with
it's like back in time.
Yeah.
It's like super back in time. So, the other thing I was thinking about, like out there too, like what it's called, Jocko's.
Jocko's
That's
down
pretty-
by Nipomo.
Yeah, they
but
got
I can
some.
get even weirder if somebody wants to go on an adventure meal. Go to Casmalia.
I've never heard of that.
Casmalia is down. It's between Santa Maria and Vandenberg,
Okay.
Lompoc.
Yep.
And it's a little bitty town that's even smaller than Creston. And the steakhouse there, and I forget the name off the top of my head, but it's the only thing in Casmalia. It's on top 10 barbecue list in the U.S.
Okay. Well,
Shout out to Mary Kopp for the hookup on that. She knows everything.
Right. All these people. All right. Well, they're making your food for you,
Yep,
obviously.
that's the loading chute set up there. It's Santa Maria style. They're doing barbecue indoors.
Okay.
So kind of like the Elks Club in Santa Maria.
Yeah. Yeah. Haven't been over that way in a while. Oh, well, who doesn't love dessert?
I
'Cause
really
know
only
I
put this
do.
picture for two reasons. No, number one, I like to say the word panna cotta. And so that's good. And then I love flights of things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can give me 4 flavors of dessert on one dish, sold.
Uh-huh.
If you can and then when I go to barbecue places, what I do is I don't do the 3 meat special.
Okay.
And you can't do this in California. This is a Texas thing. In Texas, you can order by the pound.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll get a quarter pound of brisket, quarter pound of sausage, quarter pound of turkey, 2
Don't
bones
need
of the
anything else.
beef ribs, 2 bones of the pork ribs. It's build your own meal.
All right.
So you don't have to get like all the stuff they want just on a
Right.
platter.
And then they
So-
give you and then they give you their say. Oh, that's
So that's
a
my deal. Flight of
flight of.
whatever it is.
Flight of. So this is a flight of desserts, but flight of meat, flight of alcohol.
Yeah.
Flights of
That one
alcohol
should go
are
without
always
saying.
good. Yeah, that's like awesome.
And then this was a great place. I was up in Cody, Wyoming this spring, and I was driving by Cassie's. And if you want to go to the next one, this is a bar that was it's been in action since like the 1890s.
Okay.
And there's another ribeye with a
yum.
twice cooked baked potato
Okay. I
And,
think we need to go to Cassie's right
and
now.
some green beans. I'm going back to Wyoming in 3 weeks. I am lining up that steak as we're going.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I'm on like 39 states, and Wyoming is one I haven't been to.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's very
Montana-
Montana-esque.
Montana and Wyoming are
But
on
Cody
my
in
list.
particular is really cute because you got all that cowboy history stuff going on.
Right.
It's a really cute little town. Imagine you've been to Bridgeport, right? On the eastern side.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine Bridgeport, but like 50, 75,000 people. It's
Okay.
like same vibe, but bigger. All right, now we're going exotic.
Now we've traveled back from the United States across the water into a very exotic location, India.
India. So this is some street food we had, which is yogurt,
Okay.
puffed rice, and then there's pomegranates. So you got this really interesting thing, and they had cooked a potato basket for it. So imagine like weaved potato strips. So this is served in this basket. I can't remember the name, but I
Okay.
just thought you would like
Well,
the exoticness of that.
I do, and I'm glad that you said that was puffed rice because I was
Oh,
concerned.
you were thinking other things.
I was concerned that it was like bugs.
A form of protein.
Yes, like some kind of fried bug.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
It was surprisingly good.
Oh, it looks.
India was a mixed bag for me. There was a bunch of stuff I really liked, and the other stuff was just really different. See how I'm saying that politely?
Yeah, but it's
it
an
was
all
just-
or nothing kind of thing.
Right. I was only there for like 6 days. I didn't really have time to acclimate.
Right.
But yeah, several things were spectacular, and other things I was thinking, I'm not sure why I'm eating this.
Right, right. Well, shout out to my friend Ajit, he always makes sure I have good Indian food. So
I will say though, the Indian food in India, just like Chinese food,
I know.
not the same
Not
as here.
the same,
Not the same.
but
Although
he
the
sometimes
naan bread
he
was ridiculous.
okay,
That
so I was
was
going to
rad.
say that's one thing at home that you don't necessarily can cook. Like I
Yeah.
do the Trader Joe's frozen naan, it's not the same.
Yeah,
but
that was ridiculous.
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. But no, naan is. I could eat naan all day long. That brings us to the end of another great episode of Senior Travel Adventures. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the show today. And in upcoming episodes, we'll have more with Jon Corippo. We'll have an interview with Stacy Ray of Sisterhood Travels. We'll visit the Rhine River on my cruise and more.